All right, Pirate fans, welcome in to this edition of the Pirates Cove podcast. I'm your host, Rick Walker. We've got a great show for you today. Joining us is athletic director, head football coach Jacob Bible. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Happy New Year to you.
Yes, sir. You too.
It's already moving fast. We're almost through January.
I know. I was telling the kids this morning how fast the month's already gone.
It is, and obviously you got to make hay with the time that you've got. A lot to talk about, a lot to do before the 2024 season kicks off. It's crazy. I think it'll be here before we know it.
Yes, we're going to blink and it'll be here.
For sure. So, as mentioned, got a great show. We're going to take you through an update through the build season program with Coach Bible, ask him a few questions, get his thoughts on where the program's at, and excited to have you on. So let's jump right in. So, obviously, you guys are in the build season. What is your process, obviously, during all the winter sports that are going on to get ready and prepare for the upcoming football season?
So the tough thing about being AD head coach is, people's always looking at your decisions on both sides. So if you act too much AD, then where's the football? If you act too much football, then where's the AD? So we're trying to do a good mix of doing that through this building season. So instead of calling it off season. I hate the word off season. It just sounds like it's time off, and you can't have time off. So we're calling it building season, and the kids are they're taking that into account more, knowing that there's a purpose behind it. We're building, we're not off, and so I really like our mindset, and the coaches are doing a good job of carrying that on as well. And so in this building season process, we're figuring out, we look back and evaluate the last season. We're like, okay, where do we need to get better at? And just that overall building leaders, and because that's kind of that is our vision as far as athletics goes, is growing leaders with exceptional work ethic and high character. And so how can we do that? Because every day we go into that athletic period or into that sport, that's got to be on our mind, and how we practice and how we prepare is building leaders and all, and with exceptional work ethic and high character. So then how do we practice that? And so we thought, and Swinford had some pretty good ideas in creating these teams that we have. And so what we did is us coaches chose 4 athletes to be leaders of groups, and it was a cool deal. Like, I dressed up in a suit. We were in the auditorium, and we treated it like the NFL draft. I was the commissioner, and first pick of the first round, and they just were choosing. And so these kids, chose their teams. Every single one of them, every single kid was picked, and we preached to them. You're not just choosing your friends. You're not choosing the biggest kid. You're not choosing the strongest. You're not choosing the fastest. You got to look at who's going to lead with you in that group. Who do you trust? Who's going to show up every single day? Who's going to take care of business in the classroom? Who's not going to get in trouble? Who's not going to be in ISS or after school detention or go to DAP? So you're looking at, like, not only how they are as a person, what is their work ethic? It could be the slowest kid, but if he's showing up every single day and working his tail off, he's going to get faster. And so through this process of building season and doing these teams, there's a point system. So you can get points for, and you can get points against based on like I said, classwork, work ethic, all of those things. So when we're, like, let's say, for example, like a max on a squat. So we got a baseline of all of their squats, and when we retest again, if you as an individual go up in that squat, well, there's points for your team. If you get faster in a time, then there's points for your team. If we also take into account your locker, what it looks like. You got trash in your locker, or you're leaving towels on the ground in front of your locker, there's points away from your team. And nutrition, that plays a factor. If you have a water bottle, if you get you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or have a protein shake, or have a protein bar, something after practice, well, that's a point for your team. So every little thing that will help them be a better athlete, put on that mass, and also be a great person in the classroom and in the hallways is points for and points away from your team. So it's starting to, and what I really love about it is when I talk about growing leaders, like, these kids are, like, they're taking attendance. Like they have the clipboard, walking around the locker room, making sure so-and-so's here, their entire team is there. And when they're not, they're on the phone. And and they have an answer. Hey, where's so when a coach says, hey, where's so-and-so, they know. And so it's really awesome to see them take ownership.
I was going to say, I think that's so awesome, the ownership that comes with that type of program, right?
Yes, yes, and that's where you hear it all the time. If your locker room is running your program, then you got a chance to be great.
Yep.
But if your coaches are the only ones telling you, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, you can be a good team, but you're not going to go to that next level.
For sure, and I you're hitting the nail on the head. Ownership, I think it's a cool program. Great idea, by the way. I like the creativity. The draft piece is interesting, because obviously nobody wants to get picked last, but at the same time, it kind of lets you know how you're viewed by your peers and what you need to do to raise your game, right? And who you are from a present standpoint within your team and your program.
Well, and then in that part too, because somebody's going to be picked last.
Yep.
Somebody's going to be first. Somebody's going to be last, and that's what I said. Some of you guys are going to be last, and how are you? So that, just like you said, how that will tell you how you're perceived by your teammates.
Yep.
And then you got to take an inner look inside and like, okay, well, what am I doing for them to perceive me this way? And like we've had a kid, he was picked last, and I made that speech, and I gave him some examples of guys that were not even drafted, like a Wes Welker situation, not even drafted, comes in. Unbelievable NFL player. And I went through just examples, naming NFL players that were never drafted and became like Hall of Fame type players. And I said, go be a Wes Welker. You were picked last, but go be a Wes Welker. And he's showing up and he's working his tail off. And it's awesome because he used to be like that withdrawn kid, and now he's like just up, and it's a different kid. And so it's just awesome to see, and it gives me goosebumps when I'm looking at the process, even though it's been 3 weeks, how much they're growing as a team. Like this morning, we make them give speeches in front of their team. So we started the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and we're just reading the book.
Stephen
and so
Covey.
yes, love it. It was a life-changing book for me back in 2013 when I first read it. And so we went through I went through habit number 1 on Monday, and I said, one person from each group has to speak on the first habit. And so this morning, 4 guys got up, one person from each group, and what I loved about it, and we wouldn't have got this a month ago, but they actually prepared a speech. They didn't get up there and just say, well, it's the first habit, and you just got to be a better person and work hard. They brought out specific points of that chapter and spoke on it and how that related to athletics or life in general. So, I mean, it was a cool deal to see.
I love it. That's such a great and plus it applies to, as they become adult professionals, whatever they do. I know my twin brother, he uses it as in a sales leadership role, and it has really improved his ability to develop teams, obviously similar to what you're doing here. So kudos to you. I love the program, and obviously it's got a lot of, it's had a lot of success wherever it's been implemented. So.
Yes.
Nice. So you touched on the leadership piece. What else is there that you wanted to kind of share?
Yeah. So like as far as when we evaluated last season where we need to get better at, in that we looked at the physical attributes as well. Okay, we need to put on healthy weight, and that's why we take into account protein shakes, bars. Are they drinking water, PB&Js, all of that. You can get points for your team for that. So, and then also, at the end of the season, that Monday, when we got done after that playoff loss to Alice, I told the guys, congratulations, you all made the track team. And so, they're in track. And what I love is now, in Coach Tootie's done a great. Now he's got baseball players, senior baseball players going to track. So it's not just a football thing; it's becoming an all sport thing. And we'll have 85 kids there at 7 a.m. Running track. They may not be competing, but they're running track to get faster for their sport. And so it's fun seeing these kids and the growth in their times and how they're going down and they're believing in it because they're seeing the result of it.
Nice.
And it's every position.
So from that, they're doing a lot of. Are you doing a track based off of getting in shape or as fitness, or are you just it's all about speed and improving.
Speed. Yes, speed.
Especially with your offense and what you guys are trying to do.
Right.
Speed's obviously
Yes,
key.
and like I said, at every position, like we'll have 18 to 22 linemen there in the morning from freshmen all the way through the juniors, and we're working on acceleration.
Nice. I love it. Very cool. Anything else that you want to hit on as far as what you guys are doing during this build season? So you talked about getting faster. You talked about leadership. What else you got?
Yeah, a couple more aspects on that is, when I evaluate each individual player after each season, one of the topics is competitiveness. What is it? What's their level? Are they a good competitor? Do they enjoy winning? Are they a refuse to lose competitor? And that's what we're trying to get with these teams and these individuals to me, the top level is refuse to lose. Like, it's one thing being a great competitor, but when you face somebody individually where they're refusing to lose and they're doing everything they can to not lose, like, that is a whole nother level of competitiveness. So we're starting to see that. Like, like at the end of each day, we do some sort of competition. It may be, a plate race. It may be a relay. It may be a wrestling drill, like a towel wrestling drill, something, whether you got to take the towel from them or drag them across, 5 yards away. And so you're starting to see, like, kids just like in fight. And so it's fighting not to lose, and everyone is around. And another cool thing is, like, you're starting to see teams come together, when they're starting to root, because, like, we separate them in their teams, and then we'll match up, team for team. And so this group, and they start hooping and hollering. The cool thing is the other teams will start pick one and start hooping and hollering, and it gets real exciting. And so it's fun to see that. It's fun to see that growth.
You're getting me fired up already. I remember doing something similar when we played ball. It was the dog bone. Of course, I always got pitted up against my twin brother, but it's a neck roll that they taped up, and we'd get on a mat and you'd race to the bone and you'd fight for it and beat the heck out of each other with it, and then race it back to the line. And but you're right, the competitive nature, the refuse to lose. I mean, football is a fight, right? I think people don't realize in its purest, when you strip it down in its purest form, it's a fight, snap, play by play, right? And so in order to win a fight, you got to want to fight.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure be willing to do whatever it takes to not lose.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Like, and that's the thing about, like, and why we try to do things like the tail wrestling, where you're actually, like, wrestling with another body, because that's what in football, that's what you do. You're trying to take another human being and displace him where you want him to go. And so you're both just fighting that. So you got to have some fight and grit. And then the last piece of this, and I told coaches and players, like, this whole thing will be as fun as you make it. Be enthusiastic, and like I tell coaches, be stupid enthusiastic, like, be over the top silly. Like, you may think like it's too much, but the kids love it, and that's the thing that they're doing a great job of, and the kids are doing a great job of, is making it fun. Yep. Because that not only being competitors, not only getting stronger, not only getting faster, but having fun doing it makes them come back every single day.
For sure, and it's funny being a 48-year-old man looking back on it. I mean, it was all fun, right? I look back, and I would love to be able to do it again. I'm sure you would love to be able to do it again but when you're in the middle of it, I think you're right. It's easy for kids to kind of lose sight because they get to do this. They don't know that they
Right.
There's going to come a time when they don't get to put the helmet and the shoulder pads on again. They don't get to come out and listen to the crowd and the fans and win ball games. So I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a great thing, and I'm excited to hear about it. So I got a couple questions for you. We talked about the process and ownership and competition. You got a player in Noah Jones, just recognized All-State. So we've got some players that have had some success. Blake Garcia just getting an offer. Let's start with Noah Jones. Talk about him being selected for All-State this year.
Yeah, I'm so proud of that kid. He, of course, you just look at him and you just think, like, he should be a big-time player, and he works his tail off, and I think he will be. I think he's going to go down there and be a highly successful player, just because he's a worker. He's a show-up-every-day guy. He's an outwork-everybody guy. But what I'm so proud of Noah is his growth as a person. when we were taking lumps there at the beginning of the season, he was frustrated, because he put in a lot of work, and we had all put in a lot of work leading up into that season, and we just weren't getting and seeing the results that we expected and we wanted, and he was frustrated, and I kept having conversations with him during the game, like, hey, come on, it's a process. And then on Saturday mornings, like, guys, whatever, yes, we've taken it on the chin a couple of times, but the only way we can get better is keep showing up every single day. You got no choice. You can't tuck your tail and listen to the crowd or listen to the people outside that are turning their backs on you. You got to keep pushing forward, and you will be a stronger person for it. I promise you. And then when we get into district, you saw that growth. You saw that maturity as a team where we started to, we had a negative play. It wasn't like the game was over immediately. They kept on playing. They kept on fighting. And he was one of them. He was kind of our rally guy. And so I'm really extremely proud of him. And when Texas A&M said that, they're going to offer him, they texted me. It was shortly after the season. I was fired up for him. And then the Padilla Poll, second team, all state as a defensive lineman. When you look at, I think it was 97 schools, 4A D1 schools, and you look at the amount of defensive linemen, and then he's one of that, 13, 14, so unbelievably proud of him.
For sure. I mean, he's a physical beast. He made a lot of big plays this year, stood out a lot. And what's crazy is he's still raw. I think you're right. Once they get their hands on him in college and he gets more around, more players like him and things like that, I think the sky's the limit for him. So the other young man that just recently recognized, Blake Garcia, you want to talk about the offer, I guess, that he's
Yes. Again, super proud of that guy because he was one of those, like Noah, an everyday guy. Every day work his tail off, and the guys, told me from the previous staff that I kept on staff said, like, this guy was, like, not a player. I don't know if he just didn't get a chance to be a player, but I saw it early on in 7-on-7. He's jumping over people, making miraculous catches. I'm like, this guy's going to be it for us. He's going to be a dude for us, and he came along, and so I'm extremely proud of him. And he made some big time plays for us, some big time plays for us down the field. So I think he's gonna shine there as well.
So where is he getting offered to?
Southwestern.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he came up clutch on a lot of big plays. He had some nice catches, and he can go. He's got some wheels on him. So it was impressive to see.
And he's going to continue to grow and get better wherever he goes.
For sure. So excited about that. So touching on kids like, Blake and Noah, what is it that you do to help kids get the opportunity to play at the next level? Because I know Rockport, that's been kind of a missing ingredient for quite some time. I mean, we've had some past success here and there, but it was onesie twosie kind of thing. How do we improve that, and how do you help them get the recognition or the opportunity?
Yeah, this is it's putting their name out there as much as possible. Like X is a great social media that's a big time college recruiter, college coach following, high school across the United States. That's so putting videos out there, getting their names out there, putting their names up for different recognitions like the Padilla Poll, all-state deal. And then the next thing is, making sure they're registered and coaches can actually, look up their information through the NCAA, used to be Clearinghouse Eligibility Center. We look back at this season and maybe Blake would have got more offers. Maybe Noah would have got more offers. They didn't. If he was registered, beforehand, and we found out that after when Kingsville was interested in him, he didn't have, because they got the film, that he wasn't registered. And so, and we're not going to run into that situation again. Like this week, we took our juniors and we all sat them down at the computer and showed them what registering for the NCAA is, because that's how, like, let's say a college coach looks at your film, they like it, they're going to look up are you even eligible to step foot on campus,
right?
And so if you're not registered, you're not. So a lot of times they'll move on to the next one. Okay, this guy's similar athletic ability and skill, but he's registered. It's easier for us to go after this guy. So we're not going to run into that in the future. And next week we're going to get all sophomores, and we're going to work it down to freshmen so that every single kid is going to be eligible to be recruited at the NCAA level.
I think that's awesome. I think the ability to go to the next level or play at the next level for a young man or a young lady is important for motivation factors, right? They need to believe that it's real. And a lot of kids don't realize that it is. And then by the time they do, it's almost too late because they didn't get the exposure, right? So I love what you're doing there to help get them, the opportunity at least to be considered. And I think that improves your ownership. I think that improves buy-in to say, hey, listen, this can help pay for my education, so on and so forth. So I love it.
Yeah, and then sometimes, like when there's some coaches that don't quite understand the recruiting process, and in other sports, like, so we've had a couple of other sport athletes reach out to Coach Hooks, because he's kind of I kind of gave him the group and, hey, go do this, make sure that it's done. They've reached out to him and how do I do this for me? And so it'll be a trickle down effect. It'll be like a ripple, and we're going to take care of all athletes, making sure that they're registered. So whether you're a softball player, volleyball player, it doesn't matter. You're going to be eligible to be recruited.
Awesome. So as we talk about your program, any new coaches come on board? What's that look like right now?
Yes, we got a new DC, and I'm thankful for the board and Mr. Lowry for being able to bring this DC in so quickly. He started the first week we got back from school, came down from Iowa. He's got 8 years of college coaching experience, and he's been a DC the last 4 years at the high school level. So, he's very highly intelligent in football, and so he's been a great aspect and a great addition to the team.
What's his name?
Coach Elbert.
Okay.
Chad Elbert.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Rockport, Coach Elbert.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Pirate Pride. So as far as changes, also we talk about the coaching there. What is the district going to look like? Looks like there's going to be some district changes as far as who's in our district next season.
Yeah, so, next Thursday, February 1st, is whenever they release it, 9 a.m. So I'll be down at Corpus and watching it unfold, and in case there's a game we need to pick up and whatnot. But, yeah, it's looking like the most popular is us, Sinton, Ingleside, Cuero, and Gonzales. That's the most popular right now. But there's some speculation that we could go down south and be in a larger district, a 7 or 8 team district, which I would prefer. It gets into a lot more meaningful football earlier in the season.
For sure. That's interesting. So how does that get decided?
UIL. They look at the map of Texas, and when they sort through the different divisions, and they try to take into account travel time and what would be the best for each individual school. It's not always perfect, but they do the best they can and do a great job of doing that.
Interesting. So we're in for some drama, I guess, to figure out which way we go. Here come February 1st, you said?
February 1st, 9 a.m.
Wow. So I assume y'all post that online, or how will we? Can you notify us and the Pirates Cove, put that out for everybody?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Definitely.
Awesome. We appreciate that. Well, as we wrap up, anything that you want to share with the community or Pirates Cove members?
Again, appreciate what Mr. Walker does here in being able to, get our sports out there into the community and what we're doing, from an inside out perspective and not just an outside in perspective. So I appreciate you and appreciate having me on. Thank you. I appreciate it as well. And listen, my partner Gabriel, my brother Rob, one of the things we want to do, obviously, is showcase the community, the great kids here, the great school that Rockport Fulton is, the great program that the athletic, that you guys have put together here as we continue to move forward. And I'm excited to be able to do it. And I want to get the proper exposure to this school, to the program, and to the kids as we can. And there's a lot more things that we're going to be doing as we move forward in 2024. I'll leave a little teaser here, but one of which I think is going to be huge, which should have an impact across the board. But we're trying to ramp up our productivity value, everything from the podcast to the live broadcast of all of the games. They should look more and more like what you see on a Saturday or a Sunday as we move forward. So excited about that. Everything from music, intros, and so a lot of exciting stuff. So as you continue to build your program, we're building ours, and kind of side by side as we try to help support one another. So I appreciate your help with all that. Yeah, and speaking on that, I think what a cool deal, if you could set something up in one of the D rings outside the end zone and have a little pregame show and have me on for a couple of minutes and the opponent coach on for a couple of minutes, that would
Hey,
going to go next level.
heck yeah, we would love to do that, and I appreciate you suggesting. We'll probably hold you to it.
There you go.
I appreciate it. Well, look, that's going to wrap up our show. I appreciate you guys joining us here on the Pirates Cove. This will be a monthly thing that we sit down with either a member of the athletic program as a student athlete or coach. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. But we will see you about a month from now. So thanks for joining us. Till next time, go Pirates.
Go Pirates.